Hi everyone, Vegas Film Critic here, Jeffrey K. Howard, here to talk about X-Men Apocalypse, which I just got out of. This 2.5 hour bloated comic book crap. Yeah, it was in 3D. Alright. I'm just trying to figure out how to describe this monstrosity. You know, I love First Class. I'm a big fan of... Should I take these off? I'm going to keep them on. I'm a big fan of the X-Men movies. I really am. And I had such high hopes for this because Bryan Singer I have tremendous respect for. He's a great storyteller. He's a great director. But you know what? When it comes down to these movies, like we saw in Captain America Civil War, that's why I'm wearing this, it comes down to story. It comes down to the character development. It comes down to how mature you treat the subject matter, how you interact and cross all these different storylines. There's a lot going on besides, blowing up buildings and spaceships and all that kind of garbage. So going into X-Men Apocalypse, the movie begins with Apocalypse. Okay, we're back in Egyptian times. Like we didn't have enough with Gods of Egypt earlier this year. We had to go back to the Egyptian culture. Of course, something goes wrong because, Apocalypse is like their leader. He's a mutant, by the way, I guess, the first mutant. And the Egyptians get pissed off at him, the powers that be, and they trap him inside the pyramid. And of course, centuries later, they're digging or whatever, and they find him, and Apocalypse gets loose. And I'm not giving any spoilers away. Watch the trailer for God's sake. That gives you... I watched the trailer a few times. Anything I'm telling you is not going to give anything away. Besides, I'm trying to save you money here. Essentially, the movie is in two places. We have the School for the Gifted, Professor Xavier and everyone that lives there. And then we've got everything that's going on with Apocalypse, okay? And essentially, it's almost like the Avengers, everyone getting together to fight Apocalypse. Here's what cracks me up. I don't know, I'm so all over the place with this. I'm just trying to figure this out. Apocalypse, he's the first mutant. He wakes up, yeah, he's like a fish out of water. He's like in a completely different time, centuries later. Where's the intelligence for a mutant? Where's the intelligence that Apocalypse can show, like, for reasoning or for, kind of negotiating or trying to, like, befriend some of the X-Men or just kind of befriend anyone in his new world? I mean, can you imagine being in Egyptian times and then waking up and you're in modern New York City or wherever, and your first reaction is to do these cliche lines where, like, you will bow down to me, or you will destroy this world and I will create it. It's like, wait a minute, kind of look around and see what society's like and where you are in your time and place. Then maybe you can, like, use some sort of intelligence you've had, because he does experience, a shock. But then he also wants to hunt down the X-Men and use them as his new children, his new henchmen, right? And of course, Apocalypse has got these incredible powers they never explain, and they're almost like, it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. Another thing that made me upset is Oscar Isaac, one of the greatest actors we have of our generation, and putting these back on. It's almost like the Green Goblin with Willem Dafoe in the Spider-Man movies. You have this incredible actor, or even Bane, you have from Batman. You have these incredible actors whose faces are covered up with makeup or these stupid prosthetic devices or computer-generated faces. And it's like, it could be anyone in there. You could just, like, lend your voice to them. Can you imagine Willem Dafoe as a Green Goblin, and his face was, always covered up? And then the dynamic between Magneto and James McAvoy, between Professor X. How many times are we going to have Professor X going, John, I know there's good in you. I feel it. John, I know you've been screwed over. Friends and family have been killed. And I know you have no reason to kill these humans. He has hella reasons to kill these humans. So it just got so repetitive. There was nothing new in this movie at all. And again, just like in Batman vs. Superman, we have these ridiculous 30 to 45-minute final acts of just action going on and on and on and on and on. Quicksilver, even repeating his famous scene from Time in a Bottle. We have another scene where he saves people from a disaster. And you're just going, wait a minute, they're repeating the same thing? Can't Quicksilver do something like maybe the Flash and run around the world, or do something different than just running in and doing the same thing and movie things? It was a long, involved sequence. What else did I hate about this? The use of classical music over and over and over. It was just... Also, there was nothing going on in the real world, okay? There was no United States government. There was no military. There was no... there was nothing kind of balancing out what was going on between Apocalypse and the X-Men. It was just almost like the rest of the world didn't exist, And it was constantly, fighting between Apocalypse and the X-Men. And it just got to be like so corny. And you sat there just going, okay, it's going to take 7 or 8 X-Men to bring this guy down, And it just made no sense. There was no trying to negotiate with him. There was no trying to figure out what he wanted. He was just stupid. It's like aliens when they come down, just like in Independence Day. What do you want from us? We want you to die. I mean, that's what it was. I mean, what kind of godlike creature has that attitude that he couldn't just kind of like discuss things with the X-Men? It just got so repetitive. And it had no story. It really didn't. It was the X-Men fighting Apocalypse. That was it. I defy you to leave me comments. Let me know what more this movie was about. Okay? In the other X-Men films, in Captain America, you had conflict between the X-Men. Conflict between the Avengers. You had Tony Stark and Captain America split. You had all kinds of character, motivation. And in this, it's like, well, we got to stop Apocalypse. Let's get everyone together. Well, wait a minute. There's a couple X-Men over there that's on Apocalypse's side. Hey, that looks like Storm. Hey, Storm, what are you doing? This guy wants to kill everybody. And that's another thing. It makes no sense, the motivation for some of these X-Men to be on Apocalypse's side when he wants to destroy the world. I mean, literally. And he shows it. He levels things. What kind of person in their right mind would say, oh, I'm on this guy's side. Let's destroy all of civilization and start it all over again with mud bricks and pyramids. Yes, it was in 3D and it was bullshit to begin with. Man, this was such a disappointment. It really was. After coming off of Captain America, where it was so good. Then you were just hoping so much for X-Men Apocalypse. That's a great name, by the way, Apocalypse. This is an apocalypse. It really is. Crap. Am I being too hard? For more reviews and interviews, surf on over to my website, vegasfromcritic.com. If you like what you see, or you hate me for this review, comment below. Thumbs up, don't share. I don't give a shit what you do. Man, this movie sucked. Don't see it.